Hey guys, I'm ChezPride, and today we are back with another gaming news video for the game Paralives. Because as of the day I'm recording this, which is August 10th, 2026, Paralives has put out was probably the biggest patch we have gotten yet, and for me at least, that is very promising for the future. Now granted, they have been putting out less frequent patches like they were at first. We were getting patches like every week at first. I mean, hell, we got one on launch day, but now they are giving us them slightly more spread out, and they have a bit more content. So honestly, I would prefer to just wait a little bit longer and have more content and bigger fixes given to us, as long as it sells somewhat often. Like, we have to keep in mind this team is small, but they are expanding, so it's probably the smarter route for them to wait a little bit longer between patches, more so if there are now more members who split up the work and cover more ground. But we also have to keep in mind that it is an early access game, so you want to have the game be updated more than a normal fully launched game would be, because you want to get it out as soon as you can, with it still being a good game. So I would hope we would still get patches more than once a month, like a lot of games that are fully launched do. But that's just my personal thoughts. But if we can at least get, at least twice a month, that would be great in my opinion. But with that being said, and personal opinions aside, let's go ahead and jump into this bigger patch. And this time around, they actually had so much content for the actual patch that they put a YouTube video together showing off the highlights of the patch. So we're going to show that off first because it is at the top of the patch notes, and then we will get into all the official patch notes and all the juicy details within. And as of always, I am recording this straight off the Paralives website. They actually waited quite a little bit to put the patch notes out. They put them out on Steam and they put the video out as soon as the patch launched, but they waited like 3 hours to put it on their website, which is a total Sims team move. I mean, not to compare them to the Sims team, but that's just so much something the Sims team would do. You guys have no idea how many times I had to wait for patch notes for that game. Like I said, this video shows the major highlights, so let's go ahead and watch this first. I tried to put it at a volume that wouldn't completely bust your eardrums, but you can always adjust your volume. And it is just a person talking. Let's go ahead and play the video. It's about 2 minutes long.
Hello, para people. Today we've got some cool new updates available in patch 0.1.
Honestly, sorry to just interrupt right away, but the fact that they're calling us para people is adorable. Okay, anyway, sorry.
It's out now. Let's get into it. Leftovers are so much better the next day. Now, your paras can put uneaten portions of food in the fridge. Careful though, it'll still go bad in a few days, so keep an eye out for any spoiled dishes. Coffee machines are no longer aesthetic. Drinking coffee can now have your paras ignore their sleep need for 2 hours while simultaneously draining your bathroom need. No more stealing spots at bedtime. You may now assign your paras to specific beds and sides using the bed slot feature. Talking about beds, some new changes to intimacy. You can now initiate intimacy directly through clicking on a bed or a current partner. For some town news, Molino now has street names and addresses, which make it easier to keep track of which lot is which. We're truly entering the modern era. Ever encounter the tiniest bit of grass that you couldn't terrain paint because it was outside your lot? Now, you're able to paint slightly out of your lot boundaries to finally make your home landscaping perfect. Ow, my eyes. Oh, wait. Lights now diffuse in a much softer and more ambient way. Babies now look a lot more baby-like. These little cuties underwent a bit of a design change based on your feedback. And your lovely spawns will now be born in your arms instead of unceremoniously on the pavement. Paras can now hug their family and friends. If a para is either part of your family or has a friendship level of 3 or higher, you can select the hug interaction by clicking on them. To celebrate our latest Steam bundle, we've added Dwarf Romantic to our collection of playable games. And for a quick Paramaker update, you can now search clothes and hairstyles with a few optional filters. There are more bug fixes, features, and known issues that weren't in this video, such as adjusted lifespans, new radio interactions, and much more. For the complete list, check out our full patch notes on our website and on Steam. Happy playing, everyone!
Now, I've went ahead and muted the video, but I do want to skim through it just for a minute and talk about some of the things they talked about. I'm not going to dig into it like I would a trailer launch video and like point out every little detail, but I did want to read a couple of the lists and just kind of talk about what they are talking about. So the first thing is you can now store food in a fridge. That was not an option beforehand, and you can just press it and the para will take the food to the fridge. Now, beforehand, we had to put the food in our inventory. The refrigerators were pretty much just to pull ingredients out of, but now we have it to where we can put leftovers in the fridge and they will spoil. So is it smarter to put it in the fridge or in your inventory? It's just more convenient to put in the fridge because paras should be able to pull them out without having to, you manually take it in and out of the inventory. But also with the coffee machines are now functional, so it looks like we have 3 options. At least I'm assuming there's not a skill to raise here, so that's probably the only 3 options we're gonna get. But it's coffee, espresso, and latte. And it will cancel their moodney, but they will have to pee more, which honestly, depending on the situation, kind of worth it. And then of course you can assign beds and also assign which side of the bed, so that's pretty neat. And then also now we have the option to get intimate on your para instead of just having it on the bed. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I actually haven't had a para woohoo yet, or wow, I guess I shouldn't call it woohoo. Get intimate. I don't like the term get intimate. I kind of like a little Simsy where she calls it para-hoo. I think that's kind of funny, but I don't want to completely copy her, but I feel like I'm gonna call it para-hoo. If I don't automatically say woohoo, I'm probably just gonna keep automatically saying woohoo because that's what I've always called it. Honestly, before I even knew what woohoo was, I was calling it woohoo because I was playing The Sims as a child. So, it's kind of how I learned about woohoo, but it's fine. This is fine. Anyways, we can now get intimate by pressing on the person. I still need to do that. I actually kind of want to do a video of where I do all the quote woohoos we have, which is just a bed, and all the deaths we have. So that'll eventually happen, but we'll get there. But I am actually excited that they have the option now on the para because I feel like that just makes more sense. So we have street addresses, including street names and road numbers, which is really exciting. I love how they put them on the building. I'm assuming that'll only be applied to new files, but we'll see when we read about it. And here's some more on like the town and whatnot. Those off some of the names on the signs, which is actually pretty cool, honestly. And then you can now erase terrain right around your lot. Let's see what else we have. Okay, we have the softer lighting, which I've been over in a previous video. We'll go over again in a minute. Same with the baby faces. I'm actually going to do a whole video to have to do with the faces, basically. But I do like the fact that if you have an at-home birth now, they'll just spawn your arms. Now, I have only ever adopted a para, which you just go to a hospital to do. So I still haven't actually played with pregnant para, which is surprising with how I play The Sims 4. All my children so far have either been adopted or pre-made. So jumping ahead a little bit, they actually have given us some filters. So we have fashion style, outfit type, material, and custom content. If you were downloaded custom content, and on material, it shows denim, fur, is a little blurry, lace, mesh, something with an M. I cannot read that. It's not the greatest picture of it, but we have some of those. And then for fashion style, we have feminine, masculine, alternative, casual, creative, country, streetwear, and vintage. I'm having to unblur the words. That is all the new options we have in Paramaker, not Create a Sim, Paramaker. And then, let's see, is there anything else I want to talk about that we can look at before the patch? No, I think everything else is probably going to be covered in the patch. Those are the main ones that they showed in the video that I was like, I think that's important to talk about. So without further ado, let's jump into the actual patch notes themselves. So we have the visual update on the babies, which has been going around the internet for a while. So this is what they looked like before, looking like Bobby Hill and whatnot. Then we have the new babies, which have the little bit of short chin. And honestly, like, I prefer the nose and the eyes, but the chin and the mouth I actually kind of prefer on the old babies. I don't know, I just feel like the little chubbiness under the chin is more realistic. It says our parent babies have received a well-deserved upgrade. Much as we loved our biblically accurate babies, we have seen the feedback and decided to update their look to make them look cuter and less Bobby Hill cut. Yeah, everyone's saying Bobby Hill, so you know. I even read that, I said it, but it's fine. And then it says intimacy update, get intimate. You can now choose on the actual para or, you know, still clicking on the bed. Food storing, you can now store inside refrigerators, and it's also easier to have something to snack on in the morning before work. And then we have street addresses. So I have already kind of covered this map on a previous video, but I didn't get into all the names and whatnot. So it looks like coming out the mountain, we have Mountain Scarf Drive / road, and then it merges into Golden Field Road when you go up the like pasture area, and then go down to the town area and it's Cassetto Road. And then we have Souvenir Street right here, De La Station Street, I guess is where the train station is. The big long one on the end is Charlie at 2nd Avenue, and it branches off into Charlie 2nd Avenue and Elaine Levine Drive Street. And then over here, curving in to the back into the middle of the map, we have Baxter Davy Street, and then right here in the middle we have Lebangic Street, and then we have a little hill place where I'm actually playing in my personal save file, and apparently I'm living on Loon Alley, which I kind of love that. Loon Alley, that's fun. Of course, this is labeled as the Castle Plaza, and the beach is actually labeled as Lot 200. It's not even labeled as a beach, it's just Lot 200, which is kind of interesting in my opinion. And of course, all the different buildings have all the different numbers, which I'm not going to go through every single one, but there are A's and B's, including in living spaces, so that's pretty fun actually. And of course, we have the actual houses up here and lots up here, which also have road numbers. But that's pretty exciting. And then we have the assigned bed slot, so you can choose either side of the bed as long as it's big enough to be a double bed. You just can tell by the fact it'll have 2 pillows. If I'm assuming single bed, you can just choose one person. Ooh, we can move in with friends. Friendship level 3 or more pairs can now get the opportunity to ask friends to move in together through cards. Okay, that's actually really exciting, because beforehand you had to pretty much cheat it, because you couldn't really do it from the map either. Basically, before this, the only way I found to do it was to invite the para over, put them in a group, and then enter a cheat, and then it would add that para or whatever para was in the group into your household. But now you can physically ask them to move in, which I still think they shouldn't get an option from the map view though. That's just my opinion. And then filters on Paramaker, you can now search clothes and hairstyles with a few different options. Oh, okay, here we actually have a clear picture. So I actually read all the fashion styles off right. Outfit type, we have, wait, why do we have hot weather and cold weather? Ooh, spoiler. Wait, hold on. These aren't all our normal options. So right now, for adults or teens and older, we have everyday, formal, athletic, and sleepwear. But if you look here, I feel like this is going to eventually be like all the categories, because they have stuff in here that we don't have as a category yet, but there are a category in other games. So we have party, swimwear, hot weather, and cold weather on top of our formal, workout, and nightwear. And I guess that is to organize like the different clothing pieces, but I feel like that is definitely foreshadowing. And then the materials was denim, fur, lace, mesh, miscellaneous, and silk were the 2 I couldn't read. Okay, but I'm glad they put a clear picture of that. And then we already went over all the coffee options. Light revamp, so this is what the lights looked like before, and now this is what the lighting off of them look like now. So if I can kind of just slowly scroll back and forth so you can compare and contrast. But honestly, I do think it works better. I think it looks better, especially in lamps. And then we have hug friends and family. Hugs are now universal. They shouldn't be restricted to lovers only. If a pair is either part of your family or has a friendship level 3 or higher, you can select a hug interaction just by clicking on them. You know what? I didn't realize that wasn't just a fully romantic thing. Interesting. Invite parents to current lot. You can now invite parents directly to a visit lot through your phone. I've already been doing that. Only for adults, though. I haven't been able to do it on kids. And then lifespan adjustments. We have rebalanced lifespans and adding a bit more days to the adult stages and trimming everyone's preteen and below. An elder with a baby should now normally be able to live long enough not to have their child taken away by social services upon their death. The average lifespan has gone from 98 to 112 days. So basically, we have been having life stage be longer for the adults, and then trimming the preteens and kids and all of that, which is kind of sad because I felt like the children lived like a decent age. I've been playing through all the life stages off camera, and I feel like the days they lived, again, I haven't birthed a baby, so I haven't played through a whole like having to find a partner and then get pregnant and all that, so I guess it makes sense. It probably is more even for me because I just create the child or adopt a child. I guess it makes sense. I just wish that they had upped the adult ages and not decrease the preteens and whatnot. But now we have display prices for items in your inventory, mostly for the artists and scavengers. We've added an item value where you can hover over or select items in your inventory. Okay, that's really fun. That should already been a thing. And play Dorfmargatic. I forgot how they pronounce it, sorry. To celebrate our latest model, we've added Dorfmargatic to our collection of playable games. I'm sure that is a game I should know. I don't. It looks like a world takeover game just from what I'm seeing. And then we have new ground textures. Oh, that's actually exciting. Players can now decorate their homes with a variety of nature floors inspired by our terrain plating tools, tiles down that match your terrain. That's cool. I like that. Okay. Food information on hover. By hovering over plate of food, the game now displays the quality and time before spoilage because you can now put food in the fridge. And then babies born in parents' arms. Babies should no longer spawn on the pavement after birth except for twins or triplets, which in that case you will spawn your arms and the others on the floor. Okay, that's fair. And vegetarian options in restaurants. Each restaurant should now have at least one choice of vegetarian paras. You know what? That's actually really handy because with the amount of paras I've randomized in Paramaker who are vegetarians, I appreciate that. And then display townies on map. We have added a new optional toggle inside of the menu to track townies in real time. Oh, that's good. That's good. You can now find them on the map. It's paras in our house and outside our house. So I guess if you know a para, maybe you can track them. I don't know. It's pretty neat. Oh, there's some more down here too. Lot painting limits. We've lately extended the limit of lots to allow terrain paint to be changed right outside of the lot. We went over that. And we have 5 new patterns in Paramaker. Oh my god, yes! More stuff in Paramaker. I'm very excited. Okay, so we have this as a new custom swatch, which you can always adjust the colors, but it's a new pattern. So we have the checker pattern, we have a cow pattern, we have, it looks like roses on the corset, which is very pretty. Ooh, we have little hearts on the sweater. This skirt that I used to have a jacket made of that exact same material, a plaid skirt. Fun. And then breaking up abruptly ends the conversation. Ending a relationship in a brutal manner will also end the ongoing conversation, and the group interaction will give you both time to cool off. Oh, that's kind of sad. I mean, it's logical. It's just kind of sad. And then listen to music. We have adjusted the pair's behavior when listening to music on the radio. You can now either listen to music or dance to it, with each being different animations to properly differentiate the two actions. Actually, I did notice that when they listened to music, they also danced to it, but didn't get up the dancing skill. So half the time I was like, oh, cool, they're getting up their dancing skill. Wait, no, they're not. And then we have actual bug fixes. So these these are all like new things added to the game, and now we have bug fixes. So time and consistency. The speed of time should now remain consistent even after 70 in-game days, no longer slowing down and breaking gameplay. Fantastic. Advanced transformation tools should now be more reliable and less prone to breaking the position of items upon reloading in the game. And then unusable when cooking, we have adjusted wording for items are busy to item and use to offer more clarity to players. So I guess it's showing when like the coffee maker's going and the microwave's going. Do X and Y amount of time goals. These goals should progress normally and be completable. Baby genetics should now be able to generate babies' faces that account for their parents and parent maker. In addition, sliders have been applied to babies and will affect their look on the life stages. Okay. I'm definitely doing another random genetics challenge because I was already going to do one just to see the new babies' faces, but the fact that they actually have made it to where they're going to look more like their parents makes me feel like I have to do a before and after contrast on the last two random genetic challenge I've done versus the upgraded baby genetics and the upgraded baby face. Like, it just has to happen. Very excited for that. And then family member label. We have refined how the game detects people who are related. Parents should no longer have any romantic feelings for their family members. Grandparents, cousins, uncles, and any romantic actions toward them should no longer be possible. You know what? I appreciate that. As someone who is living right next to Alabama and gets all that backslash, I appreciate that. At least it wasn't the siblings or the parents to the kids. That would have been worse. Food rotation fixes. Meals should always be oriented properly in a parent's hands. And then moving without your children. Parents should no longer be able to leave their kids behind when asked to move in. Oh, that's okay. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense, but it's kind of funny that they had to make a whole deal like, yeah, people are like leaving their kids behind. It's not even on purpose. Like, we gotta fix that. And then dead paras. Oh my god. Okay, well, there's just like dead paras on the ground. They should no longer remain lying down in the street days on end after they die. That's horrible that was happening. No. Oh my god. I was not aware that was a thing, but I'm so glad to find out, especially with the bottles around that. Oh, and there's bottles, straws, and like wrappers. I know that's just like litter, but it just draws the wrong story. Okay, anyways. And then tunnel access. One of our fastest tunnels was unchargeable through some angles. We should now be able to use at all times. Sleep talking. Parents should no longer continue conversation while sleeping. Babies on the floors. Parents should instantly prioritize putting babies in cribs instead of on the ground when an action that can't be completed with that baby is in your arms is cued, which could be annoying overall. It could turn into a whole like Sims glitchy infant problem, but you know, as long as it's managed good, I think it'll be fine. And then the last patch update bug fix we have is feed the toddler already in the high chair. Players should now be able to feed toddlers that are already sitting in the high chair. That was annoying. Actually, I did find that annoying. The fact that you could put them in a high chair, but then you couldn't feed them when they're in the high chair is like, what's the point of being able to put them in the high chair if you couldn't feed them once they're in the high chair? You have to like take them out, put them back in. Okay, that's fixed. Good. And then it just ends here with a couple last known issues. So it says, we are aware that players are still dealing with mod issues. This is unexpected results that some mods may eventually stop working as we update Paralives throughout early access. So they're just saying, hey, you know, if your person that made the mod is updating it, it's not going to work. Basically is what they're saying, without trying to put the blame on the mod maker, which I appreciate. Not that I'm a mod maker, but for the mod makers, I appreciate that. NPC paras will often walk through walls when finishing conversations. Jeez. And then, as always, we thank you for all your reports and keep reporting, blah, blah, blah. So that is all that we have today. Of course, I am on the news page on the Paralives. So if you keep scrolling, you'll see things from previous patches and things that they have given us updates for along the way. But with that, I'm going to end this video here. Like I said, the next video I record after this will be me retrying the random genetics challenge. I've already done it twice beforehand before this update, but now that the babies are updated, I feel like I gotta test it. And you know what? I gotta make some Paras woohoo at some point because I have not done that yet, so I will probably be doing that soon as well. Trying out Para woohoo for the first time. I need to do that, but I was waiting for my second gameplay part in my first series, and I've been so distracted by Paramaker that I've been playing more gameplay off camera than on camera. Not gonna lie. But I haven't even woohooed or para-hooed off camera either. But also that family doesn't have a romantic interest except for the teen. I don't think teens can para-woohoo. So, but with that, guys, if you made it to this point of the video, I hope you found it educational and entertaining because that was the whole purpose. And honestly, I was actually really happy with this patch. I think it is a really good one. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and do all that awesome stuff because you guys are awesome people. I'll see you next time. All right, bye!